When I was a child, I used to really enjoy watching these movies, and more than child, teenage. We were watching movies. Sometimes there was this thing where we were watching sometimes together these kind of scary movies and this type of stuff. And we all enjoy, kind of in a way. And then some part became like unbearably just like someone is walking into a house and the music, everything is there just to kind of this kind of very, very tense excitement, like somebody because obviously you've got to be in it, no? You put yourself in the movie, and this girl is walking, going, and the music is just kind of breathing, Any minute now something is like going to happen like that. This total aloneness like that. And then, either something, they do their stuff like this. Then one day it occurred to me, what? The cameraman is there. It just came like this, no? Just like that. But the cameraman is there. And it changed totally my perception of everything, in fact. And then later I came to understand that actually, whatever is happening actually, if this one now is the one in the life, there's also the cameraman is like the consciousness is it. It is unseen and yet it is seen. It's unseen and yet it is known that it is there. Because of the very fact that there's interest in watching something is moving. It's not just a camera moving around something, just know that there's an intelligence there. It took away this something. It took away something. The same thing with the consciousness. I told you one day a lady I went to, and I went to meet. The one I told you, one lady I went to see her, one friend, and the son came to the door and said, close the door, and I said, the daughter came and no, the daughter came first and so I checked my face and pressed the bell again, and the son came over and go, I said, what's happening? He's looking around. Then mother came, opened the door. What is this? Then I hear them calling, spirit, spirit. And they opened the door, and then this cat came out, three-legged cat, and went. And it was a spider that was just slowly coming down. Was somebody with me recently who we saw the same thing happen at the door? Who was anybody with me here? This is in London. Anyway, like this house I went to, and then inside. Later I went up to the room where the son was living, the son's room. He's maybe about sort of like maybe 11. So knocked on the door and he opened, but he's so engaged in this computer game that he didn't even come to say hello, like properly, And it was like, Aaron, his name is Aaron. So I said, Aaron, Uncle Mooji's here, I could call like this. So, hi, he's playing. So on the screen is there. I was sharing this in London, no? And on the screen was this airplane flying. You could just see it. You can see the front of the airplane, no? Like this going. And it's flying through these like ravines and so other planes are flying. So he's in this game and he's sitting there in his chair, no? And he's doing his remote. So he's here actually, but he's projecting himself into that image. Of course, I'm watching this, no? On the thing that he's in the plane. Hello, Aaron is Uncle Mooji's here. Hi. So I'm watching this boy sitting in his room, playing a game with us on a screen where he's projected himself onto that screen, playing, but he's still in the room at the same time. You see? So I'm looking and say, look at this, The consciousness is here, and it's identifying, projecting itself into this this movie of life and this person's moving around and so on. But the consciousness is somehow there, enjoying it. But behind this consciousness, I am also there watching. So I'm watching him projecting himself into that machine, flying into some, virtual reality game, something. And I'm here, and so who is here now that watches the consciousness projecting itself into the craft as somebody flying the craft like that? It's very beautiful, no? When you reflect on some things like that, even a small thing, you don't find that you need to reflect on so many things. It's enough. It burns itself so deeply, and it's such a joy. Discovering the truth is always such a joy. It's like a kind of, like you exhale into this bigger space, and the other space is sort of drop away, and a bigger space is present, and it's always light and free. How can discovering the truth be painful? Unless something wants to, hold on to, like sometimes maybe you're dreaming, and then you wake up. Time to wake up, but you want to finish the dream because you were just going out on a date with someone and getting interested, and you kind of woke up, and then you go to the bus, you go back to try and catch the dream again, and then you carry it on. So you're creating something. We have done it or not?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to continue the dream. So yeah.
Meeting Mooji in the dream.
Meeting Mooji. The best way of looking at all of these things is from the perspective of consciousness. Because if you look again, sometimes you start to say, "Oh, what's the world coming to?" That's one perspective you can have, because it's not anymore that paradigm which relates to you. It's not anymore, the things that we're accustomed to. So you think, "Oh my God, what's all of this?" But from the place of consciousness, something is communicating something also. You can look. You can say also these things, because there's no one picture. There are many more windows. Each window looking at a different perspective.
Yes.
You can look at it. But at the same time, there is something that moves away from the center. Someone was asking, but she wanted to know. She came genuinely to ask, what do you have some thoughts about that? How could that develop? And we talked a bit about it. Well, it's that there are many. You cannot just single out. Say you can say anything, any kind of expression of human life. If you're an artist, if you're an actor, if you are whatever, is there a path this way to enlightenment? So yeah, anything at some point can be. It's very slow. Because for many years myself was practicing martial arts and painting and all this type of stuff, and the two main thing was martial arts, painting also. And through these two activities and discipline, I learned a lot of things about balance, naturally about balance, and just ways of perceiving through that training of looking from the perspective of trying to paint something as an interpretation, unless you just want to copy it, which is also good, and just your sensitivity, you develop a kind of sensitivity in looking at things and finding like a very, very broad way of looking at things and sensing at these subtle levels, about the sensuality of the universe. And through the martial arts, this thing about like balance and speed and no mind and all of this thing is coming through. But it wasn't until that opening inside that I can say it all makes sense. Without that, nothing. You see, the people go very, very deep in their craft, in their disciplines, but you never make this connection. Maybe never made a connection because it has to happen inside the heart. Something happened. And then after this, you see that actually it is portraying itself in every expression. It's there. But from within the identifying inside that expression, you almost will never find out like that unless the grace somehow opens your eyes, your inner eyes to it. So when people say, can we get there through Tantra? I said, no, because the human being is in that so much. wanting to see if that can, and it's very ingenuine very often. There's much more that you are attached to something and you want the truth to reveal itself through that something, but you don't want to give that something up. You don't want to go beyond it. You see? That's what I'm seeing with it. And I was very pleased that she could ask a question like that, because she's just beginning to develop this concept around this. You know, that has been a fascinating subject for her, relationship and sexuality and how that can lead to, you know, final liberation. I said, no, it's not like that. You know, if you want, you know, first thing, how long you want to take to do it. You say, supposing it can do it, supposing Tantra can reveal to you the ultimate truth tonight. You want to get it tonight, or you want to have a bit more Tantra first? You want a bit more Tantra first. Now? So the fact is that it already exposed that is not the thing. It's a means, the way you want to do it. You see? But then you say, no, but I want to get to the ultimate truth, but can we go through this part? You know? Okay, we can do it now. We can do it to the end of Tantra right now. Yeah, but what position? So we also want the truth on our own terms, or to satisfy our own projections. At least if you're honest enough to see this, you're already having some understanding that actually there's something quite ingenuine about it. But once the seeing happens, you can see that in every aspect, actually, everything becomes, first, everything is a bit like an object. Then as you become more subtle, they become like mirrors through which you can look through something. And then finally they become, you know, or they become glass, windows you can look through. Then they become maybe mirrors. They throw it back on you to show you like that. And you see it in everything, you know, that everything somehow you see. Not that you even care to see it in everything. It's not like you're trying to see it in anything. You know, but the vibration is in everything. But then we make a big deal about this, the expressions. Oh yeah, this expression. You missed the point. You missed the point.
One day Nisargadatta said to someone said, I want to reach perfection. And he says, no, what you want is not perfection, because you are already perfect. What you want is to express, to manifest this perfection in the manifest. And this bit,
the one has to know is already you are perfect. He's not able to even take that from the sage necessarily. If one can take it from the sage directly, then he's already very elevated to be able to do that. Because Maharaj said that maybe he's not even saying it on his behalf, maybe someone else heard it.
yes.
You see, you know, you're already perfect. Because many times you hear, how many times you will all hear this type of thing, but how far has it gone? You know, I'm searching for the truth. You don't need to search because you're already that. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, you're free. You're free. No, you're not. Some stubbornness is there, like kind of like some. I call it a kind of some kind of tamasic. It's like you are numb, a numbness. And this numbness is like something is saying, yeah, you can say as many times as you want, but you can't reach me. Look, hard as anything. And then you say, well, hard heart is just also not a concept. Your heart is hard means nothing at all. My heart is so close, so tough. It's rubbish. And that's what you think, and then that's what you feel at the moment. You see, these just feelings that you are presenting them like they are firm beliefs, and then they are firm truth. There's nothing firm about them. My heart is closed. There's just an idea, it's a feeling, it's just an emotional feeling. The real heart is yourself. It's neither open nor closed. It's beyond all of that. And this is why in many of the great traditions, spiritual traditions, they have to repeat, like I was saying before, it's repeating. Because many times you are hearing but you don't hear. You hear but you don't hear. It's just at a kind of verbal, oral level you're hearing, but it's not really heard. Very often, misunderstanding does not take place. First, second, third, fourth, fifth time you don't understand. Mostly misunderstanding take the prize. Always. We interpret. We were saying, not jokingly, even from the other day. We were out together, and somehow, Dash and I came back. I asked them to do something. They went out and they came back with very conflicting things. That Mooji said that he wants to stay in the restaurant and drink chai in Amarigar. She told this one that that's what I want.
No, because it was very confusing, because in the beginning you just said, okay, pick this thing for me, and then we just go and have a lunch.
Yeah, just say, go
at
pick this thing and
Sahaja.
go, yes.
And then Darshana came inside and she said, Mooji said it would be nice if we can sit down and have a chai together here. Do you think
I never said anything like this at all. Not even the shape of this chai or sky or anything. Nothing, no words came that shape. But she heard it, no? And then she's passing it on to the others. Mooji want to do this. In the time I'm waiting, think why they're so long. They're ready to take seat and eat, and I want to go. So they said, look at this, you see? Something in your mind is telling you, is already interpreting what I'm speaking, and this is not even anything that's important. Can you imagine? So even if it's more important, sometimes there's even more distraction even happen. There are times there's something inside you that is telling you something that is not true. Even though you had eye contact and I tell you, this is not so, and you go, okay. You see, he admitted it is so. It's like this. So this is why perhaps in many scriptures, like in the Vibhu Gita, the Ashtavakra, they're repeating. Repeating. Because there's not a lot of things you need to know. But even if you need to know one thing inside your heart, it reminds you in so many ways, reminding you. Then at some point it just somehow catches it. It's like, wow. It's heard in a particular way. And that is no more just a floating cloud anymore. It's really sort of, my God, I am the sky, not the cloud. The cloud is there because I am here, but I am not the cloud merely. But it is part of my dance. But you have been hearing this for 5 years. And I gave the example also of another one, in London also, who went out to a satsang, one satsang. And she also came back and said, it was something really fantastic. I was sitting with this teacher, and she said, that you are not your body nor your mind. I said, my God, that is astonishing. Why? I never thought I could. Maybe that's so good. I never heard that kind of thing before. Because this woman has been sitting for 4 years in satsang, I'm saying all these things, but she's telling me now, after she went out, I heard this was so amazing. She said this thing, this teacher. So sometimes it made me wonder, I said, my God, what do you hear? Because maybe some gremlin is inside taking delivery for all the things that you think you're knowing. And then you talk, when I ask you, come on, repeat what you've heard, you start talking about onions and tomatoes.
That's what Isabel said also. She said when you speak, she cannot hear what you say because you're so beautiful.
As a matter of fact, some people have come, and they've said, in fact, I remember Shankari, she said for 3 months she came to see me at my house. She didn't understand what I'm talking about. I said, but why you come? She said, something felt the need to come there. I need to come. But she never understood what am I really saying. Because something feels like I'm saying something. It's very important because everybody's so quiet. But it wasn't connecting, you see. And fortunately something, whatever this something is, kept her there. She kept coming. And then somehow it dropped in.
Once I was, maybe 15 years ago, I was at home with my ex-wife and my kids at night, and I was telling about this, about that, and suddenly I understand myself, and life is not outside to inside, it's inside to outside. Life happens here, not outside, but it was make a lot of sense. I never hear about this, and I did not know what it was, that past and spirituality, nothing. And suddenly my wife, what am I talking about? I'm crazy. And me, it makes a lot of sense. And after an hour maybe I was like this, pass. And after that, that's it, And I tried after to understood that,
Yeah, to create the same impact of it.
Go there again, and because I understood, life is not, wow, life is not outside to inside, it's inside to outside, everything happens here. Why, what you are talking, you are saying a lot of nonsense touch, because it's not like this, it's not there, it's here, but it was so clear, and with this, I tried to go there again, but I could not, because our mind loves experience. And the experience, when I was living that, I was not looking for nothing. I was there, but when it passed, I was trying to go to the experience again, because the experience I feel good, well, and so I want this again, and I could not go there again,
Mind wants it again.
You,
the mind is wanting it again. But it has already done what it needs to do. It has already done what it needs to do. It has opened up something inside, but the mind cannot comprehend what it's done. So it wants to revisit the experience. It wants to have the experience, the taste of the impact of it again. But it's already done what it needs to do. And then you are thinking through your mind, I lost it. You say, I wish I could do it again. But it's already done what it needs to do. Easy. Because we don't really necessarily learn in such a what you may call systematic way. You're absorbing things from all over, actually. While you're here, you're not sure what are you corresponding with. On so many levels, because the being is so dynamic, so diverse. There are things that are happening that you have absolutely no idea at a conscious level what is happening. But it is marinating somehow inside that understanding. And the greatest thing is to have this open-heartedness that's what I was inviting this man today in Satsang. Doesn't matter if you don't understand, but you must have inside. Don't close the door. Don't say, oh, I didn't understand nothing, it was not really worth it. Don't do this, because then you shrink down your capacity completely. Just say, okay, I don't really understand that, but I have a feeling for something, and I open my heart to that, to whatever it is that can sort of bring it into my heart, into my mind in a way that can be understood or something. Then something is open. This is intelligence, in fact. Because it means that whether you are really on the ball, consciously paying attention or not, something is working behind the scenes to prepare the inner environment for that understanding. But education, conditioning tell you we have to learn sort of like almost like, you don't learn things so randomly, so be more systematic in your attention. Bad teaching, in fact. It has its place, but it's not the only way. In fact, many things that we learn, we don't even know how we learn them, how we know them, how you come to know anything. You see.
what you say is so true. There was like one satsang that I asked you a question, but I asked you with this feeling that I like completely didn't understand you. And then I remember very strongly one sentence from this satsang. And after some time I listened to the satsang once again and like completely misunderstood you. It was like completely upside down, this sentence. It was like,
Yes. Yeah. When you have love inside you, then your ears will hear properly. Your mind will work properly. When something has this trust and this openness, then something is working on behalf of you. That is not just your mind, because we are taking a very, very, what I would say, an instrument which by itself cannot do the job alone. If you rely on your mind only in the conditioned use of mind. But when you say yes, like I said, in a way that the gods say, you can come together, all your great minds together, and you cannot capture one moment of my being. But if you love me, I'm yours for free. But if you try to capture me, to fathom me, you cannot reach me. All the minds put together cannot reach me. But if you love me, all that I am is you, is yours. There's a mighty key, that love. Love means openness, open to the all possible, without, having this, I've got a lot of experience now, I can go at it now. No. Just at any point.
Mooji, it seems like any even subtle self-doubt stands in the way of that love.
Yes.
Like as soon as that energy comes, it's like...
Yes. And the real self neither doubts nor believes. But the dynamic self, the child of the pure self, must grow in trust and appreciation, humility and love. That's what in the game somehow converts that very limited state into the all possible thing. Our dynamic being, dynamic expression of self in the absolute. We must not use many words because first they're not needed so much. If we don't understand, the mind makes pictures of them, and the pictures are not true. That is not true. And this emptiness, there's not really an urge so much to create, with that intention or a sense of need or identity. If there's creativity, it's very spontaneous, very playful, very ability. Of course, it can also be depending upon the temperament and the nature, It can be whatever. It can seem very measured, very deliberate also. somehow you're like a room with the windows and doors open, and the wind passes through it, unobstructed.
Friheten är ditt vackra namn. Tryggheten är din stolta moder. Kunskapen din broder, freden din syster. Kraften är din fader, tomheten din källa.